Welcome to the Asian Dating Podcast. I'm your host, May Bugenhagen. I am the founder of Two Asia Matchmakers, a boutique matchmaking company that started in Los Angeles, and now I help men all across the US meet Asian women. And ladies, if you can fill out a profile with me online at twoasianmatchmakers.com so I know how to find you and set you up. And it's free for women. So thank you for tuning in to the Asian Dating Podcast. This week, I have Shannon Snow. She is one of the co-founders of the Smitten Project. During the pandemic, Shannon found herself facing many life challenges, including the loss of her relationship. At the time, she was in a high-profile position in Omaha, Nebraska, and found that online dating was difficult in her position. As a nonprofit professional, full service matchmaking was financially out of reach. She needed something different. And Shannon and her co founder, Sue, started the Smitten Project in 2022. Their Smitten Singles brand operates in the space between the apps and matchmaking, offering live events and educational services to support singles in their journey toward love. Welcome to the show, Shannon. How are you?
I am great. Thank you so much for having me today. I'm excited to be here.
Yes. I love speaking to other matchmakers and especially talking to new companies that started during the pandemic. I mean, wow, that is a great intro to how you got started. So I know we were talking a little bit before we recorded, and you mentioned that you and your boyfriend of 5 years split up during the pandemic. Now, as you found that out, is that like very common? Like, did a lot of couples split up and like why?
I think so. And, as we talked about earlier, I think a lot of my personal story has resonated with a lot of our clients and probably other singles out there as well. In my situation, we had not really taken the time to get to know each other's values and just how we operate in times of stress, especially. And so when the pandemic hit, the relationship was fine. We were great friends, still are. Actually, he's a wonderful human being. Um, but how we dealt with stress and some of those core value things were just really different. Where maybe I was running to help, he was more concerned with being safe. And there's nothing wrong with either one of those. But when you're on lockdown with someone who has a different philosophy from you, it's it can be quite challenging. And so as kind of as we talked about before, this particular experience really plays out in our company. My co-founder works in the wedding and event industry, and she talks a lot about the need for prenuptial support within the relationships, and how we've kind of gotten away from that as people have gotten less religious. And we see that need for people to connect on values, to connect on more than just superficial swipes, for lack of a better word. um but we see that need for that real connection, and that is part of our mission, is helping people build those connections with people that share their values, that to help them understand how to have successful relationships and be more than just the place where they met, but really be a support system for their relationship for as long as they are in it, which we hope is forever.
How did you know that your values did not align? Like, now that you know that, your next relationship, I'm sure you will analyze that more and talk about your values more while you're dating. But how did you know they didn't align? Because you were together for 5 years. And did something come up where you're like, you know what? This could be a pink flag or a red flag.
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of it was situational, a lot of things happening at the same time. So my personal story is a little bit tragic, for lack of a better word. But I had started my job on February 29th of 2020. and or I'd accepted it on February 29th and started on March 30th. And this particular position was in one of our disadvantaged communities and was really hard hit by the pandemic. And I was called to a level of service that I had never been before. We had a loss in our family. We lost my nephew at 8 months old, and all of that stress as it played out into my life as I was reacting to this, I was just really running in service to others. And I wasn't, again, nothing, I'm not judging him by any means. He is a wonderful human, but he was like, we need to lock down, we need to be safe. And so, I mean, just that core value of how we react in that time of stress, I'm not sure. I mean, truthfully, I think if you asked either one of us, I don't know if we would have broken up had we not been in that moment of stress. Maybe. I mean, we certainly were not in a super happy place before the pandemic, but we weren't. It expedited kind of the values conversation that we had. Um, and I do think that happened to a lot of people. But since then, I've been fortunate enough to be surrounded by some of the best coaches, definitely in the country, but probably the world, including you. Um, and, when you really take a hard look at yourself, I think, part of the problem was I didn't understand my values going in. I didn't fully understand what I needed from a partner when I was going through something. I didn't understand how I would respond in supporting others during their time of stress. And so I think now being surrounded by these wonderful professionals, I wish I had had access to them before that relationship because the tips and tools and tricks that I have learned about assessing what I'm looking for in a partner and how to really get at that values piece, they're just, there's not enough words to describe the impact of that. And, um, I'm excited that we can help bring some of those tools to the world in a more, you know, accessible format.
Yeah, thank you for sharing this industry. You just learn so much, or you take a snippet from what someone says and you're like, "Oh, that's a great aha moment." And it's a lot of information. And if I were to be a single dater today, I would be armed with so much more information and be a more efficient, empathetic, understanding, open minded dater versus how I was before. So I guess I kind of found my husband randomly. I mean, we both worked at Enterprise Rent a Car, but I didn't really sit down with my my list of must-haves or deal breakers, or even really gave that much thought, because when I met him I was, in my 30s, and I just never really sat down and think of those things. So I think people who are in contact with us now in the dating industry, they are much better efficient daters with more of a purpose. So knowing what you know, Shannon, uh, what would you advise daters that was kind of in your situation who are now ready to date? And let's say you've done some work on yourself and you're armed with all this information. Like, what are some things that you think you're going to do or you suggest other people do when they start dating again after taking a break for a little bit?
Yeah, that is a fantastic question. So, one thing I tell everybody that's single, especially single after your youth, your 20s, I'm obviously a little bit older than that. Um, how you date changes throughout your life. You know this. We see it with our clients, especially, you know, younger men are somewhat challenged in this space and older women just finding that partner. The dating pool changes and how you date changes based throughout your life. And I tell people all the time, I do not think singles should be dating without support. Um, we therapy and mental health is something that is more commonly talked about now, and it's awesome. But I think we need to extend a lot of those same support systems into dating. And there's different ways to get support. Things like seeking out podcasts like yours that are offered by people that are professionals in this space, making sure you have quality content. Those are ways you can get support. Reaching out to a coach if you need that, um, all of those things. And the other piece that I think we get caught up in is we are worried about relationships ending before they even start. And so having some mindfulness about this, a coach actually told me once, all relationships end. We don't like to talk about it, but every relationship that you have will end. And so if you get caught up in the ending, it's really hard to focus on the start or the middle. So I think those are just that's kind of what I tell people is date with support. Find support. Find someone's advice that you like. What I will do is I mean, I am in a unique position because I am surrounded by so many people in this space with so much expertise. But I have committed as I start to get back out there to actually participating in a lot of the programming that we offer and that our coaching partners offer and getting that support for myself. I think what I realized personally is knowledge and skills are two different things, right? Like you can have the knowledge but not have developed the skill. And I right now I have all the knowledge, so I need to sharpen that pencil and get out and um, develop the skill. And I've identified a group of people that, when the time is right, I will call and lean on. But even as a professional in this space, like I need support and I'm going to be transparent about that. So I think it's just really important to have those resources at your disposal and sharpen the skills.
Yeah. Dating for sure is a skill. It's really a skill that we can all learn. So whether we are a virgin and we don't have the experience with the building of relationships of the opposite sex, you can learn those things. Whether you're an introvert or extrovert, or you're really social, or you're a hermit, like there are ways for you to get out there and to meet people. I truly believe that. I truly believe that if you put in the effort and want to fine tune your dating skills, that you will find somebody. That's the great thing. I mean, there's just one of you, but there's like so many men out there, right? Like there's so many people out there, and the world is so small now because of technology like this, like on a Zoom, or you just go out and meet people. So what do you do? Like, do you go out like 2 times a week? Do you go out 2 times a month? Like, do you have like a plan on that? And do you make a point of doing online dating and you chat with guys after 3 chats, messaging back and forth? You want to meet him? Like, what are some of your immediate plans?
Yeah, so right now, so just for your viewers' benefit, I took a pause from dating because after I had broken up with my ex, I found myself getting into some bad habits and I recognized that I was not making good choices in my dating world. So I took a pause. And that was about the time we started the company and I was starting to really get connected with coaches. And took about a year, a little bit over a year to do the self work. And so I am just starting to get out there. And I would be lying to you if I said that I wasn't terrified because this is not something I've done in a long time. And going about dating this time with knowledge, it's the first time that I actually know what I'm looking for, probably in my life. I think the rest of it has always been a little bit of luck. Um, So I'm the worst online dater ever. It's part of why we started the company. I am classic. I will talk to you all day long, never meet up. And so I have gotten back. Oh, I'm the worst. I tell people if you see me online, just go ahead and swipe left because It's not gonna happen. Actually, don't swipe left. If you're my soulmate, go ahead and swipe right. Um, but I have been using a lot of the tools. I mean, I know you know Erica Etten. I love her Instagram. I think it's one of the best free tools out there for online daters. And so if I start a conversation, I'll literally like stalk her Instagram. And there's been a couple times I've asked her, like, help, what do I do? Um, but I will stalk that Instagram and, come up with those openers and literally just like lift them from her page. And, I have been on dates. And while they maybe haven't been dates that led to relationships, for me, getting out and going on the date is huge because it's not been something I've done for a year, which is ironic because all we do is set people up on dates. But it's it's an interesting space to be in for sure.
Yeah, I think it's fun to now be armed with all this information and now you're like, okay, let me try it out and see if it works. And hopefully you're documenting all this like your own diary of your dating journey, which can be kind of cool. And so what if there's like a guy listening out there right now? Like how would you describe who you're looking for and should they contact us if there is a guy out there looking to meet you? Like, can you tell me a little bit about you and who you're seeking?
Yeah, for sure. Absolutely. I mean, one of the things, and I'm gonna give Kat Control credit for this, she's like, tell everybody you're dating. And but I think for me, that values alignment is really key. I am still in the process of working on myself a little bit. So I'm working on getting my gym habits back, getting my healthy eating habits back, and that those things are happening. Um, but having someone that really encompasses that value of mental and physical health, they don't have to be fit, but uh not very mindful about what they're putting into their body. I'm also a foodie. Cocktails and wine are my hobbies, so those are a little contradictory, but um, selective in how we do that. And then just fun. I'm a serial entrepreneur. I like risks, so they should be stable because sometimes I'm a little bit flighty out there. But bringing some stability to sort of my natural inclination to take risks, but also they need to be fun because that risk taking is also spontaneity. It's a joy for life. It's wanting to get out there. And so if that guy is out there, I'm not geographically limited, so reach out.
Oh, good. So you're open to meeting guys all across the US. So you're not just wanting them to be in your backyard and you'll only drive an hour away. Like you're very open with the location.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. What age range are you looking for? Ethnicity and all that stuff?
I am it really does come down to values. In my past, I've dated all ethnicities. So I'm not picky on that at all. Um, but I think, age, I'm 45, so age appropriate. I don't have kids, don't want kids, so it's fine if they have them. But, someone that wants kids is not going to be a fit. But other than that, I'm really open. So,
Okay. So the guy could be like 40 to 55 even?
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, pretty open. Okay. Do you like sports? Do you enjoy sports, music? Do you play music?
Yeah, so I I don't have an athletic bone in my body. Um, but I come from a sports family, so I understand sports and I love tailgates. So if they're cool with leaving me at the tailgate, like that's gonna be a good situation. Love music. I love culture. I'm a big nerd, so learning, um, just anything. I'm more of a city traveler than a beach traveler. I like to stay busy. But yeah, if they're fun, honest, good values, they could
What
be a
is
fit.
What does that mean that you're a nerd? Like, what are some nerdy things that you do?
Oh, I mean, if you even if you just look at our company, like I have researched every single aspect of the dating and relationship industry ad nauseum. I can spit off more statistics than you might want. Um, but I really have that yearning for knowledge and for fact-based database conclusions instead of, um, just making big decisions. Little decisions are different, but big decisions shouldn't, for me, are not things that are made on a whim. They're grounded and solid and logical. Um,
Are you religious? Is religion important to you or politics?
yeah, I'm Christian and having a faith in God, even if it doesn't need to be my exact religion, but having that faith is something that I think would really have to be, it would be a requirement. So
Okay. So if he has kids, how old should the kids be, or does that matter?
doesn't matter. I just don't want to have them. So
Okay. Got it. Got it.
yeah.
I know this, I've never actually asked a guest if they're single and open to being set up. So this is kind of like what a
Yeah.
matchmaker does is kind of ask the client, hey, so who are you looking for? What's important to you? And like, how do you spend your weekends? And what if he's this? What if he's that? What are deal breakers? And of course, people always say, oh, if he's a smoker, it's a deal breaker. Or if he has, sometimes they say, well, if he has a really young kids, I don't want someone who has really young kids. Or if he has like a crazy ex-wife or, whatever that may be. But it sounds like you're pretty open, which can be easy for a matchmaker to set up. So in my business, I take on men who are the paying clients, and the women usually join my database for free. However, if there's a great guy out there and he's interested in meeting you, I would love for him to email me and we could set it up. But yeah, a lot of times people don't know what it's like to talk to a matchmaker. So exactly what we talked about, an example of your likes and dislikes and your values and key life values and all that stuff. That's actually what I do every day. So thank you for that, Shannon.
Yeah. Well, and from my perspective, I really appreciate it because a lot of what we do is refer people to matchmakers. And so I love having an example out there of the types of questions that your matchmaker should be
Yeah.
asking. Every matchmaker has a different style. Um, I think since we're on this topic, one of the other things we always tell people, if you're choosing a matchmaker, you need to be really comfortable with them. You need to trust them. As you answer questions, you need to be open. They need to pull that stuff out of you. And if that conversation isn't flowing, they're not a good fit. And I think, we're in the Midwest, and we have some great matchmakers here,
Yeah.
but they're not every matchmaker is for everyone. And you could be the best matchmaker in the world, and not every client is going to be your client. And so a lot of times people feel like I'm in Omaha, Nebraska, and I only have a couple options. Um, but we are here to say that most of these matchmakers, including the ones locally here, work outside of our region. And, there is that national connection. And so finding that matchmaker and that person that you really get along with is critical to making sure that you have a good matchmaking experience.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, we didn't even get into it, but it could also be education level. Is that important to you? Do you want a guy that has at least a BA, or what kind of job and what kind of salary do you see? Is he a homeowner? All that stuff. So does he have pets? Is he allergic to pets, cats and things like that? So tell me about the Smitten project. You guys do a lot of events too, like live events?
We do. So I tell people all the time to think about us as the space between the apps and the matchmakers. And so we provide more support than a dating app, but we're not as hands-on as matchmaking. It's almost like deconstructed DIY services from a matchmaker, um, a self-guided tour, if you will. And we started with events since 2022. We have hosted thousands of singles, and primarily on Des Moines, recently launched Sioux Falls and St. Louis, with a few other cities to be announced soon. Um, and this year, I mean, we're hundreds this year already, but last year we were just over 1,000 unique individuals in the two cities. So we're on track to at least triple that in 2024. We have hosted hundreds of events. We're at about 300 a year. Um, speed dating, so we speak in code a little bit. So we have dating events. So speed dating, we have a product called 3 Dates, which is where we match participants based on their survey questions. Anything that's got dating in it for us is going to be geared towards that person that's really looking to find love. If it's got mixer, social, those types of things are for companionship, because one of my favorite statistics from the Pew Research Center, which goes both daters should know and non-daters should know, is 50% of singles, 50%, are not actively looking to date. And so it doesn't necessarily mean they're not open to dating, but there's a few different categories that fit within that statistic. Um, First of all, you have your people that are open to dating but have just kind of given up. They don't know where to look, which means you're looking for their friend, their family member. And so we always tell people, approach every single conversation like that person knows your soulmate. Uh, the other part of that is, if they really aren't looking to date, it doesn't mean that they're not lonely. Loneliness is an epidemic, and it was, you know, exaggerated during the pandemic. And single people, especially single men, are more at risk to suffer from loneliness than any other group. And so providing those experiential activities for people to get out and live their lives is something that's also very important to us, along with the dating side. Um, we offer tons of events and all sorts of different things. And then outside of the events, maybe they meet someone or maybe they don't. I mean, we see a lot of people, I shouldn't say this too loudly because we all offer speed dating, but we see more often than not, people do not connect at speed dating the first time. A lot of times they'll connect at the second or third, potentially speed dating event still, but sometimes it's a mixer, sometimes it's a social. Like, it's almost like they need to get warmed up um, to that person to connect with them. And so we have some speed daters that just haven't had a lot of luck at that event. It's not a good format for them. And so that is where some of our educational programming, our book clubs, our coaching chats, our online library, it's where some of that stuff fits in. It's a resource that we can guide them to help them be successful. We don't want anybody to depend on us for their success. Our vision is very much that we're giving them the tools necessary to be able to go to the grocery store and know how to talk to somebody and start that conversation, and wherever they are, that they can be open to those opportunities.
So who sets up all these events all over, you, or you have other employees that do that?
Yeah, we're really lucky. We have a very good group of support, both through Sue and I have done a lot. The first year it was pretty much just her and I. And now each location has some event staff that are helping. So they kind of rotate. So if people come to our events, they may not see the same person all the time. Um, and the other thing we have that's kind of fun and I think important to share with the matchmaking community is we do partnered events. So if someone else is hosting a speed dating event and they want to promote to our membership, we can do that because we're not the speed dating company. We are the resource for everybody in this space. And so if we have clients in an area, we're happy to direct them to other people's events. I didn't count those in the numbers I shared earlier, but it does, if you look at our calendar, especially in Omaha, Des Moines right now, it is full. And some of that now is starting to be more singles nights by bars and restaurants. We do have a business partnership program that they can join to promote their own singles events. So it's starting to be more of these partnered opportunities. But one thing for the clients to know, if they come to our website and they see a partnered opportunity, we still support it. So if we find out that anything happened that didn't meet our brand standards or quality standards, we won't partner with that vendor or that matchmaker or that service again. So we really are committed to that quality across the board. But we're excited to offer the partnered events and help expand to more cities.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. Well, Sue, thank you so much for your time today talking about what you do and talking about matchmaking a little bit and all that. And of course, I will put all of your information in the show notes. And I love it. The Smitten Project, I love what you do. I think it's great. I mean, I feel like people should meet in person, and I'm excited to see if there's any guys out there that's interested in meeting you. So hopefully they'll email me, but yeah, thank you so much, Sue. And I will put all of your information in the show notes, and I hope we connect soon. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Okay. Bye,
All
everybody.
right.
And ladies, if you're single out there, please go to twoasianmatchmakers.com, fill out a profile with me so I know where to find you.